Wait, so she's going to sue everybody? Everyone. I know of a class action lawsuit where like many people get together to sue one corporation or to sue one entity, but I've never heard about it in reverse when one person is suing the internet. I don't know if this is what she does, but this is what the headlines are like. The drag artist at the center of a Paris Olympics opening ceremony performance that drew right wing outrage for apparently mocking Christ's Last Supper is fighting back. Why do they frame it like this? First off, when leftists are insulted, and I want you to pay attention to this because it's always happening, it's every time. If you have leftists insulted for the pettiest reasons imaginable, like the characters in Genshin Impact don't have the right skin color, then the media, and it doesn't matter the publication, unless it's like a right-wing publication, but usually the media will report it like fans are outraged, customers are upset, right? Like they do not spread it down to ideological lines, and they do not say it's like, oh, it's a couple of people. No, it makes it sound like the entire world is pissed off. But when people on the left go out of their way to be insulting, they go out of their way to be petty, then it's right-wing outrage. Which in this case is demonstrably not true because a lot of Muslims are outraged as well, and I don't know if they include Muslims as right-wing, even though technically they are, but I don't think like the publication Daily Beast would include Muslims like right-wing. You have Iran summoning the French ambassador for questioning over the Olympics, right? Because, again, like these people, they do not understand different religions. Like they claim they're allies of Islam. They support multiculturalism, but they don't know the single thing about Islam. And one of the interesting things about Islam is that they like Jesus too. Yeah, no, like Jesus is actually a religious figure in Islam. It's just that they do not consider him to be the son of God, but they also get upset if you are to make a Last Supper look-alike ceremony and treat it with the way that the Olympics have treated it. So yeah, like everyone is upset. And I know left-wing people that are outraged about the Olympics as well. I know many LGBT people that are outraged. And their argument is like, look, it's becoming increasingly difficult for us to just live our lives and be left alone when this gets front and center at the Olympics and it makes it seem as if we're okay with it. It makes it seem as if we're this petty to go out of our way in order to outrage people that did nothing to us. So I even think that they have a point with this. But anyway, right, it's right-wing outrage, sure. Barbara Butch. Wait, her name is Butch? That's interesting. I didn't know. She said through her attorney that she had been targeted with death threats, anti-Semitism, fat phobia, and said she was planning to sue the people who had targeted her. Well, she should also sue the people that employed her. Like, what were they thinking? Like, you literally painted a target on this lady. So you're making one of the most offensive Olympics opening ceremonies in history. Like if you can show me any that is more offensive than this, please let me know. There was no way that they didn't know it was offensive. Like, if you didn't know, how can you be this mentally deficient? Like if I had a time machine and you would manage to erase my memory of the Olympic ceremony, right? And you take me before the ceremony happened and you showed me that scene, I would be like, look, it's offensive. But how do you know? Look, I just do. Okay? Like, trust me on this one. It's offensive. So when you go out of your way to put something on a scene that's going to be watched by tens of millions of people, and you're going out of your way to be offensive, yeah, like everyone associated with the production is going to get flack. Everyone. Right? So why did you hire this lady? What exactly did she do to you to deserve this? Apparently they're saying that the campaign is extremely violent. Cyber harassment and defamation, says her lawyer. She has been threatened with death, torture, has also been the target of numerous anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist, and grossophobic insults. Grossophobic? What is a grossophobic? Is that... I have never heard about this word in my entire life. But then again, English is my second language, so it's possible that grossophobic... I want to use grossophobic from now on. You know what? I'll make it my purpose to try to incorporate grossophobic into my next 3 videos. Let's see if I can manage. But again, like she was mocking the Last Supper, which is, again, Islam adjacent. Imagine if they actually created that event where she would go out of her way to have to mock Muhammad. Imagine the reaction then, right? So like comparing that to what is happening now, which is still unacceptable but predictable, because again, like, it's the internet, right? Like you're going out of your way to show to the internet, anonymous people, that you want to offend them. Like, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to try to offend you back. Like, this is human nature. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that it will happen and you can predict it. So the people hiring her should also be sued. Like, if you're genuinely upset about what you're receiving, the first people that you should sue are the ones that hired you, because they put you in this situation. Butch added on our Instagram that all my life I refuse to be a victim. I will not remain silent. I am not afraid of those who hide behind the screen or a pseudonym. Well, Iran isn't hiding behind the screen or a pseudonym. I think like there were Catholic institutions in France, like archbishops, that aren't hiding behind the screen or a pseudonym. There are a lot of public figures and public people that were offended by this scene. Again, like, I don't know if she has money to sue them all. I wish her luck. But I do think that she should sue the people hiring her, because they knew. They knew that she's going to be targeted. The controversial segment featured Butch and a group of other drag artists in what appears to be a homage. Only if you're a left-leaning journalist, it appears to be a homage. It's a mockery, by the way, right? It's a vile mockery to Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. It drew complaints from Christian groups, prominent conservatives, including Elon Musk and others, Donald J. Trump Jr. Interesting how they don't mention the Muslims that complained about this. Funny how that works. And again, like their names are known, like they're public figures of the Muslim community that complain about this. Like, guess what? Muslims watch the Olympics as well. I don't know if you do, but they do. So why aren't you bringing them up? One Olympic spokesperson said that in an interview, if people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really, really sorry. It's not about being sorry. The question is, like, why did you do it? Why did you do it? Okay, there are 2 possible answers. Number one, if we go with the short, fat otaku vision, right? Everyone associated with the production were incredibly incompetent and completely detached from culture. Like, they were living under a rock. They had absolutely no idea about how people react, about, like, none of this, right? They don't understand Christianity. They never read a religious text in their entire life. And then they decided to create this scene, and they were actually shocked. They were bewildered when people were reacting like this, right? Like, I can imagine the ones associated with the production go like, oh, why are people so upset? What have I done? What, So that is like the first one, like incompetence at such a level that aliens would think it's humanly impossible. The other one is that they wanted to offend. It's just they didn't expect they will offend this many people, or they didn't expect that actual public figures associated with religious institutions and nation states would come out and they would condemn it. Which I think is the second, right? And the problem when you do that is that you're going to get canceled, because like no one wants to associate with you. Because, like, if they do, they will drag the ire of the same people again. So now you're like, oh, shit. Like, I really wanted to offend people, but I also want to have a job. So maybe I should apologize or something. But yeah, this is what I want to know. Like, if I were to have a conversation with this individual, I would just ask them why. Why did you do it? What were you hoping to gain? What was the purpose? Like it's logical that when you do an action, you do it for a reason. So, like, why exactly did you want to offend so many people at the Olympics? Which is an event that should bring people together. All you had to do was make it about sports. That's it. Like, if you made it about sports, no one would have been offended. Look at China. China is a communist nation. What do? They give the Olympic flame to the Uyghurs. Like, even China is trying to unite people. On the surface. But, like, it isn't trying to offend. So why couldn't you? Because, like, China could have taken the opportunity to shit on America, right? Like, they could have shit on capitalism. They could have made a mockery of U.S. culture. They didn't. They didn't do any of that. So how can China manage to pull it off, but you can't? So Nikki Doll, a drag queen who served as the torchbearer, says that the open ceremony did ruffle some feathers, and I love it. You know why? Because Olympics are the biggest stage in the world, and as queer people have always been the audience of other people's life and achievement, and it is time we are welcomed in this space. But that's the thing, right? Like this is what she is saying. She is pointing out that no, like people aren't welcoming. You did get the opportunity to be on the world stage, that is true, like the spotlight was on you, but instead of taking the time to take advantage of the spotlight and to show the world that you are kind, compassionate, and tolerant, you're showing the world that you're vindictive. And most people don't understand why. Like it's very difficult to explain to little Johnny, who's watching the Olympics with his grandmommy, why people are going out of their way to try to offend him and his grandmommy's faith. When they didn't do anything to you. I mean, they can even be from Poland, for instance, right? Like a completely different country, different place from the world. They never hurted a drag person in their life. They didn't even know drag people are a thing, right? So now you're going out of their way to offend them. Why? Why is it? Why do you want to offend little Amar all the way from Iran watching the Olympics? What did little Amar do to you? You know, it's like, so like this argument is like, oh, well, yeah, we got the spotlight. Yeah, you did. You did. But you should have used it better. So previously Doll posted, it was my absolute honor to perform, queer, feathers ruffled, we ain't going nowhere. Yeah, by the way, like imagine the opposite. When right-wingers ruffle the feathers of these actors. I mean, we know what's happening. They're going to sue everyone, so... You know, it's kind of interesting. Like America used to have this phrase, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. Because this is literally what you've done, right? Like you went out of your way to ruffle feathers, and you're saying this in an interview after seeing the feathers ruffled, right? Like you're like, oh yeah, we wanted to ruffle feathers. And now that people are ruffling your feathers, you're like, oh, Dios mío, how is it happening? Well, it's human nature, right? Like if you're in a car and you're giving the middle finger to someone from another car, what do you think they're going to do? Right? Like certain events are predictable in nature. And usually, like, people dish it back if you dish it to them. It's just an observation. Like, I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you how it is. Like, if you go on the street and you spit on a person, how do you think that person is going to react? It's not difficult. And by the way, the left-leaning people on Twitter, I don't know if you see it, but there's usually these videos where some American citizen gets very violent towards another American citizen. And usually, like, the other citizen that they get violent to is either a child or an elderly person. And immediately you see people on Twitter going like, maybe he called them the N-word, right? Like they're justifying the level of violence because of a word. Which, like, okay, that's your priorities, right? Like, I can't change them. That's your principles. That's what you believe. So you believe that words justify that type of reaction. And then you go around and you pull something like this, and you're bewildered when you see a reaction. And it's like, well, I'm not the one doing anything. I'm not harassing anyone, right? I can't even tell people what to do, because I can't even tell them to subscribe to the channel or to donate to my Patreon. You see how smooth I am? And despite all that, despite me being a snake oil salesman, I still don't get more subscribers. But anyway, right, so Butch is a lesbian activist. I didn't even know, nor do I care. Like, apparently she's a lesbian activist. Okay. And she was a celebrity guest judge in Drag Race France, raised in a Jewish family in Paris. Has spoken out against anti-Semitism. Look, it doesn't matter how much you speak out against anti-Semitism. When you pull something like this, it's going to do more harm than good. I'm just saying. So apparently she goes on and she says, I'm fat, Jewish, queer, lesbian. And I'm really proud of all my identities. Then why are you suing people who are making fun of your identities? Does this make any sense, chat? Like, help me understand. I'm trying to put myself into the other person's shoes. I'm trying to have empathy here. I'm trying to picture how it would be like if I did something like this. And I just can't imagine myself doing it. So all the violence and negativity I experienced, I can make it into something bigger to help others go forward with a lot of love. So, like, suing people is an act of love? Look, again, I understand the speech. I really do. But I am surprised that she's not upset at the people hiring her. Like they put a target on her back, right? And you know, the people hiring her can then go around and say, oh, we disavow, oh, we wish you guys would stop. Yeah, but you made money out of it, right? Like you took a lady, a beautiful lady, and you put her on the front stage in an event that was viewed by tens of millions with the purpose of offending and ruffling feathers, as you say. And you made money out of it. You monetized that. And now that the lady is getting attacked, you probably will be like, oh, we disavow. Oh, we hope you guys would stop. And that's it, right? Shameful display. Absolutely shameful display from the organizers. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.